There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. I see with new eyes, allow and unfold, embrace and let go, trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Breathe in and out, slowly feel all that's around you, all that you feel, all that you know. Let it go. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite, yeah, when we unite, oh, we unite, yeah, yeah, when we unite, yeah, yeah.
Now I know what was happening and people coming in and going out. Thank you, New Jace. Thank you, Charles. New Jace, Jackie. Hmm. Well, first of all, got me there, Jackie, because I was like, what? But I know what happened. I saw the numbers of people listening going in and out. I was like, what the heck? But thank you, Jackie, for pointing it out. Anyway, it's fine now. So where am I going to start from? Since okay, for those of you on Instagram, you heard me, but people on I can't even add the audio to it. Whatever. I'm just going to start with honoring, Black History Month being Quali is a good thing you were on IG. And I wasn't looking at the chat as well, so that didn't help. I need a moment to just breathe. It's like, 17 minutes, 20 minutes, and you didn't hear me. Well, what can I say? What can I say? But you could have told me there was no sound. Come on now. You are almost the president of the Being You podcast. You could just said there was no sound in IG and I would have fixed it earlier. Really? Quali? Now come on now. You can't hear. Well, I know why you can't hear me on YouTube, Jackie. I fixed it now. And you know what's funny? For those who are just joining me, we had some issues. I had a nudge to listen to the show on my other phone, but I kind of said, "Oh, I won't worry about it." Okay, it's okay. All is well. I know you won't. Yeah, that's why I'm like, wait a minute. So let me just make sure because I'm looking at YouTube now. Okay, great. So YouTube is working now. Right. But I did have a nudge to just check that I'm streaming. It's just traveling back and forth, and I unplug my computer. So when I restart, it doesn't connect. And I always remember to go back and do the sound. But anyway, those of you on Facebook and YouTube, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm not going to start the show all over again. What you can do if you want to catch the beginning of the show for the first 15, well, maybe after the song, about first 15 minutes, you can go to IG. So you can go to the Being You podcast account on IG, Instagram, or go to Life Coach Ade on Instagram. I'm streaming on both. So for the first 15 minutes, you will hear all the good, yummy, juicy stuff that I shared. But sorry. So where was I? I'm going to learn from that lesson. I've learned a lesson to make sure I have the chat room. So last week, we celebrated Dr. Naeem Akbar for Black History Month. Black History Month in America. In UK is in October. I think also they celebrate in Canada and maybe other places. This week, we're celebrating Rev D, Reverend Deborah L. Johnson. She's a Black woman, African-American woman. I'm glad I wrote this down because you lot on IG were like that, but you didn't say that earlier. Oh, you should have said that the first time. African-American woman, spiritual teacher. She's a reverend. She's the founder and director of Inner Light Ministries. And she shares her gifts, her talents, her skills, her insight, wisdom with us passionately. One of the gifts and the skills that she shares with us, more of a gift really than a skill. But yeah, you can call it a gifts. It's the spirit letters she calls them, and the spirit letters are all captured. Well, not all of them. Some of them are captured because she's always getting spirit letters, pretty much almost every day. It's a download. She listens to the divine. She knows when it's coming. We've talked about that before. But the first one, the 2 volumes, The Sacred Yes. I'm not going to go through what I did before. Sacred Yes. And The Sacred Yes is volume 1. Your Deepest Intent is volume 2. She teaches oneness in a world that seems gung-ho on being divisive or divisive. divisive, whichever country you are, whatever country you're in, and however you want to say it. A world that seems to fear losing its identity if it joins with another, if it loves another. The world that feels like, no, those people are evil, I'm good, so I'm not joining with them. But when we say oneness, I'm like, like hell, I'm oneness with them. I ain't wanting with nobody. But it's all about what you identify with. Rev D is a gay black woman, and she's the leader of a church, a spiritual center. All these are no short, small feat. She's a woman, she's gay, she's leading the church, and then she talks about she gets messages from God. That's enough to make anybody go, yes, lock her up. But I think that's part of the reason we're often afraid of listening to our own gifts. I was sharing with a group of mine today. Hey, Keisha, how are you doing? You missed your greetings. I did a special dedication to you because I'm just like that. But you won't catch it on Facebook because the mic wasn't on, but you'll catch it on here later on. But I'm not going to tell you what I said. Maybe Ashley will tell you. Being you ain't easy. There is a cost for being who you are, and there is a cost for not being who you are. So this morning I was sharing with a group that I'm part of, and out of my own realization that oftentimes the reason we don't listen to God, the divine, the universe, Mother, Father, God, however you want to define it, that's something that is everywhere evenly present, is because we're afraid of not being in control. We're afraid that something is going to happen that we may not be able to deal with. Yet we talk about how powerful God is. We talk about how, won't he do it? Won't he do it? But then we often celebrate that statement, won't he do it, after it's done, generally speaking. Can you imagine if you wake up every day knowing that, saying that, won't he do it, and recognizing that he's done it, it's already done. Now, for you, your responsibility is to show up because it is done. Thank you, Charlene. Stop, you're making me blush. Charlene said, your smile lifts up my day. That's one of my gifts, because that has nothing to do with me, that I was born with, and I'm so grateful. Imagine when you wake up, if you wake up saying God has done it, it is already done. Today's theme, today's topic is the future is here. We're going to slow that process down and talk about what that means. If you think about it from an intellectual perspective, like the future is here, what the heck? I don't understand what that means. Okay, no, I don't need to listen to this, but I promise you, if you stick around, you will shift. You will be transformed. I know it. I just know it. I have no doubt. I feel it. So anyway, I was talking about Rev D, having a gift, listening to God, the whole idea of being you, or being authentic, being in integrity with your soul's calling, your soul's mission, your values, will cost you something. Some people will leave you. Some people won't want to talk to you. But you know what? If you're not being who you are, I was sharing at the beginning, Facebook and YouTube didn't hear that. But, we're here to be different. We're here to be unique. We're not here to blend into the common folk or just be common. We're here to stand out. The whole idea, one of the things you did miss on Facebook and YouTube is when they said that the world is in your hands. The world is in your hands. Your world is in your hands. Look at your fingerprints, if you can see it. Or put it, when you remember when you got arrested for something you shouldn't be arrested for. Okay, let me stop. Your fingerprints are unique. There's no one like you. So you came here to be different. When you try to blend in the name of what society tells you will bring you peace, and you haven't quite identified what makes you unique, it is painful, it is costly, it is stressful. I don't want to be so definitive, but I'm just going to say it. Woo, Lord. I believe, in my experience, that's a lot easier to blend in when you've made love, when you've made peace, when you've made joy with your unique self, your authenticity. So anyway, we celebrate Rev D for being an example of being authentic, of showing up, speaking the truth, not afraid of allowing the divine to speak through her. I don't know if I finished the thought that I was saying earlier, but it's coming up. So I'm going to repeat it. So if I said it, I'm just feeling to share it. The reason most of us are in pain, we struggle, and maybe not so much physical pain, but the mental pain, emotional pain, the struggles, the suffering is because we just feel like if we give it up to God, who we know where we say he's going to do it, she's going to do it, it's going to do it, then we will be out of control. We don't know how it's going to turn out. That's even crazy when we think, oh, if I lean into the divine, if I lean into God, if I listen to my inner being, my inner me, my higher self, my spirits, my guides, whatever name you want to call them, my ancestors, if I lean into them, my life will be much better. But then you also hold the belief, I can't do that. That's too hard. I don't know how. That causes headache. You're either going to go with that thought that God is guiding my life. I'm scared shitless, but I'm trusting what I know. What do I know? I know that many times I've been afraid and I got through it. There have been many times I didn't know how things are going to turn out and I got through it. There were many times that I was afraid and think that what I was afraid came about and I got through it. This is not even what I'm trying to talk about today, but it all ties in because living from the perspective of living in God now is recognizing, is accepting, embracing the idea that the future is now. So anyway, if you want to check out more about Rev D, go to her website, DeborahLJohnson.org. Deborah with an H, L, the letter L, Johnson.org. And you can also go to Inner Light Ministries, innerlightministries.org or .com. Either one will take you there. Let me take a breath. Let me breathe. So those of you who are listening, maybe you knew some people who came early and couldn't hear. Tell them, we got sound. We got sound, Ashley said. Fitting in and belonging and not the same. I know that's right. It's not the same. It's not the same. And that's why I love exchange. When you guys say something, it triggers something for me. One thing that lights me up is this idea of belonging. We're looking for our tribe. People who are like-minded, heart-centered, who think the way I think, who see the world the way I see. That's all well and good. But you got to understand, we have sound indeed. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you for pointing it out, because I would have done a whole show without knowing it. What was I saying? I can hear what I was saying. Oh, belonging. Okay, it came back. If I just wait a little, because there are times I've done a show, right? And I'm making a point and it feels real good. And then I address something or something happens. And then when I try to go back to that thought, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what goes on in my head. I forget what I'm talking about. And at times when I keep talking, like what I think it is, in my head, I'm like, that's not what it is. I'm like, okay, God, what was I saying? And it comes back. Future thinking. When you live in the future, you have everything you need. I promise you. Okay, so belonging. We want to belong. We're looking for the tribe, for my people. Tribe is sexy now. There was a time, what tribe do you belong to? Which tribe in Africa are you from? Oh, you're part of a tribe. Do y'all get dressed? Do y'all wear clothes? Mm. Anyway, I'm not going down that path. It is what it is. That's just what we do. But really, as I was saying at the beginning, until you really make peace with yourself, make love with yourself, make joy with yourself and how unique you are, it'd be challenging to fit in. And it may just give you some insight that belonging is not what you thought that meant. What you think it means is not really what it means. That to belong means you bring your whole self, your stories, your uniqueness, your lessons, your skills, your talents, your gift. You're not trying to be like anybody else. If you try to do that, you're not belonging. You still feel isolated in a community of people. To belong, you must show up. Because you then become the one that others are longing for. Like something is missing. I don't know what it is. And when you bring your uniqueness, they've been longing for what you have to bring to the community. Don't go to a community to see what they can give you so you can feel better. Go to a community, join a community, and be ready, available to give of yourself. And when you give of yourself and you feel that it's being received, you accept that it's being received. Oh yeah, you find your place. Not in them, in you. Oh my God, I haven't even done commercials. Well, announcements, but I guess they're called commercials too. I don't know. But anyway, it's just me today. So you just catch what I bring. You got to go and grow with the flow. The future is here. What does that mean to you? I do want to tell you that this Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, my dear friend and I, Jennifer Denning. I made that sound like a Jennifer Denning. I was just going to remember her last name. We are co-leading an interplay session, which happens on a monthly basis, actually, called Second Saturday. Second Saturday. Those of you on Facebook, you will see that I posted it. I'm going to share it on IG later on. But anyway, you're hearing it. If you want to join us, if you've never been a part of Interplay, you've heard me talk about it and been curious, this is actually a good Saturday to join us because we're also catering to people who've never interplayed before, who are curious about interplay. So you get to find out. And interplay really is a practice, is a way that's been created. It was the founders, Cynthia Winton Henry and Phil Porter. They gave birth to interplay, and the idea it comes from the place. It was birthed from the place where they wanted to connect with the body, the whole body, the spirit, the mind, and the body, like integrating, become fully embodied using stillness, breath, storytelling, sound, and movement to tap into, to listen to the wisdom. Hey, Monique, so nice to see you. How are you doing? Thank you very much. It's been a while. Happy New Year to you. So, Jennifer and I, we are co-leading. It's this Saturday, February 12th, 10 a.m. Eastern. Join us. The information's on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook or don't use Facebook anymore, send me an email. Go to my website, lifecoachade.com. I will send you the information. Libsyn.com. Libsyn.com is a podcast hosting site that I partner with. If you're thinking of starting a podcast, have a podcast, want to move your hosting site, I strongly recommend, okay, that too. Recommend Libsyn, LIBSYN.com. And if you decide to sign up with them, make sure you use my promo code so you can get some goodies. Promo code is ADE, ADE. ADE means crown. I'm placing the crown on your head so you can get special treatment. Libsyn.com, LIBSYN.com. Make sure you don't sign up on the 1st of the month. You can sign up from the 2nd. If you sign up right now, today is the 8th, you get the whole of this month, February, free. and the whole of March. If you sign up on the 2nd of March, you just get the whole of March free. All right. Every Wednesday in America, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. Thursday morning in UK, you can join Ricky Byers and myself for Soul Fulfilling, another charging station where we get to go deeper with Ricky's song and music and just conversations. For me, Ricky and I, we often talk about, we don't go into details of what we're going to talk about on the show, but what I get to experience there is literally be in the moment. One, when I'm doing the show, my show like this, just me, I kind of have an idea of where I'm going. When I'm interviewing people, I have an idea of where I want to go with them. Based on their response, their reply, I may go a different direction, or I might have 10,000 questions. When I'm hosting with Ricky, because it's ultimately Ricky's platform, I know that I'm a co-host and I'm here for God. So I'm listening to, because Ricky, she's an air sign, so she has ideas and she sees what is possible for humanity. He's a Libra, so it's all about balance and unity. So for me, it's kind of like I listen and see where we're going to go. So on live, I'm like, oh, okay, we're having that conversation. So in the moment, it gives me an opportunity to go deep. And I just love that. I love, that's one of the reasons I love being interviewed. Because when people ask me questions, I don't know where I'm going to end up. And wherever I end up, even I'm going to be lifted up like, damn, that was good. I love doing interviews. What else do I want to tell you? I think that's it. Let's jump into this conversation about, let's go deeper, because I've been talking about the future is here. That's what the theme is. That's what the conversation is about. And so I want to give you some history about this future thing, right? There were times when I would take some time out to go on a silent retreat. And there were times where I did it from home. I haven't quite done it in a long time, where I take the whole weekend and just be silent. Now, for me, when I do it at home, I still let me fix this. I may listen to watch a documentary on YouTube that is in alignment with personal development, spiritual development, but I'm not talking to anyone, and I avoid texting. But then I went on a retreat, a 6-day retreat, silent retreat. And really, most people weren't silent. I was one of 2, maybe, that was silent in that retreat. People were talking. So I had to walk around and write down, I'm being silent. I'm like, really? Like for the whole retreat? Now, we came on a silent retreat. And people, I'm telling people I'm being silent. And they're shocked. And I'm shocked that they're shocked. It's like, this is a fucking silent retreat. Anyway, it made it a little bit challenging, but challenging, well, it stretched me to be around people who were talking at a silent retreat. Not as a judgment, just that's what they were doing. It used to be a silent retreat where nobody talked, but after a while, some people were finding it difficult. Go figure. In America, it's an American thing. Like, I can't be silent. Anyway, yeah, don't go down that path right now. So when people would talk to me, I just respond to them. I write it down. It was interesting because when someone asked me a question, I knew someone was going to say something. It's true. I have the privilege to talk about Americans because I've lived in America. That's right. And because I feel like it's another home for me. I love America. I love Atlanta specifically for me. So I get to talk about it. Yes, but you can check me, watch it, because people don't like you talking about them. But I'm gonna talk about America. I talk about Nigeria. I talk about UK because that's all part of my roots because I can. So anyway, on this silent retreat, I don't remember if it was day 3. I was talking about, when people ask me a question and I'm replying to them, writing it down. Oh my God, something so simple can take so long when you're writing it down. So I have to breathe. So are you going to join us tomorrow when we go down to meet, the founder of that spiritual center of awakening? No, that's not what it is. But anyway, it's irrelevant. I can't remember what it is now. He made his transition. The founder made his transition. But anyway, I have to say, no, I'm not going because blah, 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 whatever the case may be. But I had to be patient because they're waiting, they're reading. And God help me if I made a mistake and I have to go back and correct it. But there are things that we can do to change habits, behavior patterns, so that we can open ourselves up to something more. And during that retreat for 6 days, which was a challenge, the first few days I was fine. After a while, it was like, whoa, day 3, day 4. Can I do this? And all of this, I'm just being silent, not talking to anybody. But it felt challenging. I don't know if it was difficult. It was that's what it was. It was the mental chatter. You sure you can do it? Why don't you just go ahead and talk now? The mind. Did you know how the devil was tempting Jesus? Saying, come on, man. You're the son of God. Jump. It's like, Jesus is like, I don't need to challenge the great I am. I know who I am. So I know who it is. I don't need to challenge. I believe in it. Anyway, I fought the devil. The ego, the lower self, however you want to call it. And I kept hearing, you are the future of your past. That was what I was getting. That's the thing that was one of the most powerful things I left with. You are the future of your past. And I remember trying to figure out what the heck. Well, it wasn't like, what the heck does that mean? It's like, because when you receive the truth, when the truth bubbles up from within you, you will know it is true. You may not be at a place in consciousness to live it, to embrace it, but something in you knows it. So I remember thinking, I am the future of my past. And I was very clear where that was coming from. It was coming from a higher place. So I just listened and asked, what does that mean? What does that mean? And it got very clear. Think of where you are. You. That's right. You. Yep. That's right. Me, us, US, all of us that are united in spirit. You, Pat. Think of where you are today. Where you live. Who you are in relationship with. Who you are spiritually. What you know now. How your life is, how you see the world, how you are to yourself. I'm sure you can find at least one thing that was once a dream, an idea, a hope, a wish, something that you wished you could be, experience. It was something that you wanted. Now you're living it, and you're living it. So before you were praying for it, wishing, hoping God would answer the prayer, now you're living it, and you don't even thank God for it sometimes. You're not even grateful for it sometimes. You actually sometimes, I'm talking about all the U's, the universal U's, you actually find yourself complaining about the responsibilities of maintaining the thing that you once prayed for. Oh, my job, I can't stand. Oh, I wish I can find another job. I wish I could start my own business. Oh, the supervisor gets on my nerves. Oh, I love the job, but the supervisor gets on my nerves. The people there, they're so negative. Oh, the traffic is so bad. Oh, I got to service my car. The job itself could be something that you've once prayed for. And when you got it, Facebook family, IG family, YouTube, whatever, Snapchat, TikTok, help me be grateful. Give thanks with me. Help me celebrate my new job. But there's a responsibility that comes with the things that we once prayed for. However, on the flip side, on the side by side, on the black side, I couldn't help but say that. Some of you will catch where that's coming from. But anyway, at one point, the job, the relationship, the thing, the place was an idea that you wanted, that you wished for. And now you're living it. So basically, when you wished for it, when it was a dream, it was in the future, wherever that is, right? And now you're in it. You are the future of your past. What was once a future is now you're in it. You're in the future. So when I heard you are the future of your past, it just brought some clarity. It's like, oh, wait, it's a different way of looking at now. Last week, And during her lesson sermon, Rev D said, "Welcome to the sermon." She shared that in the show. Welcome to the sermon. Is that what I just said? Welcome to the future. And because I've been leaning into this and talking about it, so Rev D said, "Welcome to the future." I was like, "Yep, that's right." It's a really sort of like sleight of hand that happens with the mind. We can miss it. One of my listeners, one of the people in our community, Ashley, who's actually listening now, sent a donation last week. And she wrote as a in the donation, well, not in the but she used Venmo, so you can put a comment on there. Some places you can't. Yeah, you can do it on PayPal as well. And people put, "Thank you for your work. Thank you for what you did." Ashley wrote, "Rejoice, the future has begun." I was like, yes, I get it. I'm going to read what you wrote in a minute, Pat. So a few days ago, I was thinking, what is the show about? What's the theme? What's the topic? What's the conversation? What do I need to share? You better speak. What do you mean? Oh, I guess you mean you better speak. Monique said you better speak because you and I are close to each other. I'm versed in typos, so I can read typos. And Monique said I'm living that now. So you're living what was once a dream. So you're literally living in your future. But do you feel like you're living in the future, or you feel like what? I don't want to finish that statement because I got something I want to share with you here. I don't want you to cheat. So yes, rejoice, the future has begun. And so when I was asking Spirit what the show is about, and what I got was, speak on the topic of the future being now. And I was like, okay. And then that's where the future is now came about. This idea of thinking, accepting, realizing that the future is now, it's kind of like a forward thinking, but it's a forward thinking that is here. You ain't going nowhere. It requires that we tap into the truth of who we are. Who are you? Are you just this human being, or are you a spiritual being having a human experience? And what does that really mean? Do you live life as a spiritual being having a human experience? But here's the trick. I might say, yes, sometimes I live life as a spiritual being having a human experience. And then sometimes I'm living life as a human, like, oh my God, how's this going to happen? There's a letter I've been trying to write, an email that I'm supposed to send, but because what this institution represents and what they're asking from me makes me feel like, oh my God, I don't think I can do it. It's so hard to just type the fucking letter. Just type it first so I can let it sit, because I like to write and let it sit and go back to it. It's like every time I think about it, it's like, that's me in my human self. So sometimes I live remembering that I'm a spiritual being in a human body. And sometimes I forget I live as a human, that I am limited and somebody else has power over me. And they get to not define how my life is going to turn out, which is BS. But there's a part of me that believes that. So today I am releasing it. I am burning that, and I'm calling in my power. I'm calling back my power to write the fucking letter. Okay? Letting go of old me. Okay, so what else do I want to say? Yes, you being a spiritual being, a spiritual, pure, you're a pure spirit, a vibrational being, an emotional being. There's nothing wrong with connecting with your emotions. Your emotions is the currency. It's the feminine aspect that joins with your thoughts that makes things happen. So whether you are afraid, pay attention to it. Whether you're feeling joyful, pay attention to it. Because if you're just all about emotions, and you don't have the thought, deep thought, awakened thought, enlightened thoughts to match it, the masculine, you could be just all over the place. Dangerous. If you're I just listen to my thought. I think, therefore I am. That's all that matters. If I think it's like that, then the way it is. Yeah, shut up. Got to bring the two together. What I call the duality of oneness. Just like your brain, the left and the right. You don't have two brains. Actually, they say we have more than, 3 brains? Scientists will always come up with so many things. But ultimately, the truth is, it's all part of the one. That's why I say the duality of oneness. The masculine and the feminine, divine masculine, whatever name you want to call it, is all part of the one. All the answers to your challenges, to your struggles, is in the future. Don't get me started. Shadow work. Yes, I am a shadow worker. I'm happy. There's so much juice when you're willing to look at what you don't see. I'm thinking of a video, but I won't go there because I want to stay on point. Yeah, I definitely want to stay on point. I looked at the time. So the question is, are you waiting for things to change in the future? And I think if we're being honest, most of us, if not all of us, can say, yeah, on some things, I am. But I understand the error of that thinking. See, that's one thing. It's one thing to not know that if you keep waiting, you're going to end up waiting in the future. Because when you get to the future, you're still waiting because you're waiting for it to happen in the future. Did you know that you are creating your future with today's actions? Like right now, everything you're doing, thinking, and feeling, you're creating your future. And when you get into the future, it's no longer the future; it is today. See, I'm trying not to go there, but I'm being led to go there. I'm still gonna read what I wrote because that's typed, wrote, same thing. What is possible if you lean into the idea that the future is right now? What is possible if you lean into the idea that the future is right now? So what are some of the things that you're praying for, affirming for, visioning for? You have a vision board. You have it that you're going to have your maid, you're going to have this job, you're going to have whatever, you're going to have this kind of relationship, you're going to travel, your relationship goals, all the goals that you have on your vision board. And almost all the time, we're thinking it's in the future. We're trying to see it on a regular basis to impress upon the subconscious mind so that we could be drawn to it, because law of attraction will draw it onto you. Yes, and law of attraction also draws onto you what you don't want based on what you're thinking. Y'all ain't ready. Let me read what Pat said. She said, I'm late. Just wanted to jump on and say hello. Oh, that's sweet. She said, I'll listen to the replay. She has a repairman at the house. Okay, stop. Stop. Click, click, click. That's people disconnected. Actually, well, it actually is trying to hear the thing that I didn't want to talk about, but it just might take away. But it just takes a bit longer. If I had the video, it's a YouTube. Okay, so it's a YouTube video. Like that went viral really about maybe 2017, somewhere around there. And it's a woman talking to another man. I think they're acting like they're husband and wife, or boyfriend, girlfriend, man, friend, girlfriend, lady friend, I don't know. And she had a nail on her head. And she was talking to him saying, I'm always getting this headache and I don't know what it is. And she was just talking about how it's like splitting headache. And he's looking at the nail and really listening. And he was like, yes, baby, but there's a nail. She's like, see, you're not listening to me. You always interrupt me when I'm talking. That's probably why I have a headache. And it was like, and she kept going on about this headache that she's having. But maybe if you take the nail out of your head, and she just will not have it. The point I was trying to make when that came to me, I don't remember. But that's the thing I didn't want to go into talking about. But now it occupied my mind. I had to get it out of my mind. You know, when you know me, if you've been listening to me for a long time, you have some idea of how I think, how I be. I'm not from this world. I'm from the future. If you can't keep up, that's on you. So what is the past? What is the present? What is the future? The past is a place, an energetic place. The past is a memory, an idea in the mind. It's not a physical place that you can return to. You can't go to the past. The present is now. The present moment is a time that you were present for. Right now, you were present for now. So wherever you find yourself, no matter what it looks like, whether you like it or not, you were present for this moment. You're present to handle it, to deal with it, to dance with it, to grow from it. So if you feel like, oh my God, why is this happening? And that's okay. But I invite you to quickly come back to yourself and like, I have what it takes. I have what it takes to deal with this. I have what it takes to write this email. I have what it takes to write this email, even though I'm nervous, I'm afraid. I've made up this story. Actually, I released that right now because I burnt it earlier, right? I used to be afraid, but I'm no longer afraid. You were present for this moment before you incarnated, before you became flesh. You are a thought in the mind of God. God said, what would it be like? And you showed up to reveal to God, as God, what it would be like if you were born in America, in Nigeria, born in UK, or baked in Germany, whatever the case may be, in Israel, in Nigeria. And then you have these different experiences and you come to a point in your life where you're recognizing, I am here for something greater. And God gets to see itself as you, through you, like, woo, I knew I had that in me because I am the all in all. I am all that I am. All that you will ever be, want to be, need to be, desire to be is in the present moment. And there are many places we can go. It's like, well, what about how does age matters? If you're not old enough to do something, there's a lot of different comebacks that we can really just get into a debate about that. And I'm for it. I was listening to Chimamanda Adichie today, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and she was like, I love people pushing back. I love people debating with me. Not debating just for the sake of debating, but really asking questions. Because sometimes when I'm sharing what I'm sharing believing I'm making it plain, but it might land differently on you. So if you don't understand it, actually you're doing me, not just yourself, a favor by saying, what do you mean when you said? And then I can go, oh yeah, I did say that. Well, what I really mean is it allows me, and we all benefit from having a new thought. The future. What is the future? The future is an idea, a thought. It is not a physical place you can travel to. You cannot book a first class ticket to go there. When you get to the future, it is now. Yet we keep planning for the future, waiting for it, hoping things will be different in the future. A future that never really comes. Like tomorrow never comes, the future doesn't. Because when you're in the future, it's now. The past is happening now in your mind. The future is an idea. It's a thought in your mind. It is happening now. The present is now. So the past is happening now in your mind. The future is happening now in your mind. It's not a place that we can go to. The only place that you are that's solid, that you can touch something, is now, the present moment. So if the future is here and the future is now, that means what I'm waiting for, what you're waiting for, what we are waiting for to happen can actually happen now. Because a seed has within it everything it needs to grow and develop and transform a community, to feed a community. Everything. You have everything in you. Everything in you to be what you've always known yourself to be. So instead of waiting for the future, be the future, live in the future, do the things that you would do that you've been hoping is in the future, wishing is in the future, affirming is in the future. What would it be like to be in that future? Feel it, imagine it, see it, because the future is already here, and let that inspire your actions. Everything is happening now. Now is happening now. So when we think of racism, sexism, gender-based violence, the struggles we're having with ourselves, generational trauma, the story of not knowing where your people are from, the story of being abused, the constant story of what you don't have, why you can't have it, why it would never happen, but it's just causing depression. The answer is never in trying to excavate the past, analyze the past. I mean, there are things that the past will offer you. It's one thing to get stuck in the idea of what happens. It's another thing to recognize without the past, there ain't no future. Without the past, there ain't no future, right? So if there's no past, there ain't no future, then there's no present. So you're just in this, in the ethers. The past and the future gives you a perspective to now. And there's so much in the past. It's not all negative. Your ancestors are in the past, which means your ancestors are here. Your ancestors are in your cells. Every cell in your body is an ancestor. Every bone is an ancestor. And if you can't take that on, come from an ancestor. So if your bones and your muscles and your cells and your organs come from your ancestors, it's here right now. So you are your ancestors. So are your ancestors in the past or your ancestors here? You are the face of your ancestors with your own uniqueness. So your ancestors, your mother, your father, people that you love, that you care about, they never die because they live in you, and you give them the space and the place for them to be seen. If there's a way of being, and I want to actually, let me go back to the things that are happening in this life, because sometimes people find it hard to integrate spirituality in the pains that we're dealing with. Racism, not finding, just things that come on money, racism, and not being finding the Mr. Right or Mrs. Right. People think spirit. I've had somebody say, well, new thought, don't always talk about that. I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about. You need to have a new thought about that old thought, or talk to me. If you can apply a new thought, your spirituality to your daily living, you need a new thought. The only way, when I hear myself make a statement like that, I'm like, oh, slow down. So let me rephrase that. One of the ways to end racism is not having a white man who has a multinational corporation change his mind and give money to people, reparation or whatever. That helps. Don't get me wrong, that helps. One of the most powerful ways to get rid of that is we must live in the future. Stay with me. And in the future, when you take time to be still, when you take time to listen, you receive the guidance that you need that comes at a higher frequency than racism. Racism is a human frequency. So I'm not enough. I feel like I'm better than you. In fact, I'm saying I'm better than you because deep down I feel like I'm less than you. So I've got to put some things in place to make me feel better than you. So then I can say, look at me, look what I got, look where I'm living, look how much money I have. So then I don't have to feel like I'm less than you or I'm like you. Oh, in fact, I never want you to be as superior as me. I'm going to do things and put things in place that gives me the power to decide your life because I am God. Lower vibration. But when you live in the future, when you live from the future, when you live in the now, ultimately that's what it is. Taking time to do your spiritual practice. You receive thoughts, guidance, ideas, dreams that is of a different frequency. Now, when you pay more attention to that, you see racism dissolving. The reason we still experience racism, oppression, injustice is because we still believe in it. We believe in it because we're still investing in it. We're investing with our thoughts. We're investing with our conversation. And sometimes, I'm not even saying don't talk about it, but it's how we are talking about it. Oh, please, I don't want to ever hear anybody in UK, in America, or anywhere in the world talking about a black man that's been shot, a young black man that's been shot, saying, that could have been my nephew, that could have been my brother, that could have been my father. Stop it. Just stop. It's not. It isn't. And the more we talk like that, the more we bring it into reality, because with every word, every thought, we're putting that out there. And there will always be more to fight for, because it's simply the law of life, law of attraction. It's not just about getting the pretty things that you want. And the fact, when you allow yourself to believe that something could have happened to your family member and it becomes something that you tell yourself over and over, the people who are doing what they're doing, whatever race, wherever they are, whatever they represent, you're literally letting them feel like they won, because they want you to think you just might be next. And if you hold that in your mind that you might be next, it affects how you show up in the world. So you drive worried. Oh, yes, you can't solve this problem with the same mindset that created it. You got to live in the future. You got to live in the now. I'm talking about embodiment practice. I'm not talking about just like, okay, I'm just going to believe. No, this spirituality, man, when you really dig into it, when you allow yourself, I know some of you are doing the work. For some of us, it's like an insurance to make life better, to make us look better. Can you sit with your enemy and have a deep conversation? Can you sit with a family member? Can you make room in your heart for your father who was never there? For your mother who was never there? Or maybe she had so many men. Your father had so many women. Can you make room in your heart for your mother who never saw the best in you, and now she's telling you that she's going into a same-sex relationship and you don't even understand it, and she's telling you can you make room in your heart? That's heart-centered spirituality. That's matured love. That's a way when you really step into matured love, radical loving. Let's stick with racism. Because it's common. Some people deny it. Some people say, we keep talking about that. It's because we keep talking about it. It's why it's here. Yes, but it depends on what you mean. Because those of you, white folks, who've never had the experience, you've got to pay attention to what you're saying about it. It's because, why does it have to be about race? Well, because it's never about race for you. When a woman talks about being abused, we say, believe women, believe children. When Black people talk about racism and the injustice, the oppression, we need to have a hashtag believe Black people. It's the same thing. We can't pick and choose. So when we do this work, it challenges us. And we are being challenged not because you're trying to appear a certain kind of way in the world, but because you know that you're part of this thing called life. That how you think, how you live, how you be is also adding. So the question is, when you ask yourself, how do I see myself? How do I see the world? How do I see myself in the world? And how do I see the world in me? That who I'm being, if I'm being me, or feeling like I don't belong, looking to fit in, or don't feel at peace, unfulfilled, not content, whatever it is, I'm adding that to the world. So in order to move beyond all the BS in the world, you have to live, you got to transcend what is happening. And in transcending it, you were given the right words to speak, that you are inspired to take the right actions. Racism, white supremacy. Let me talk about that. White supremacy needs Black people. White supremacy needs Black people to feel oppressed for it to be successful. If a lot of us, decide to say, You heard what I said? Because some people maybe drive with kids, but it's never stopped me. I just feel like saying it. F that shift, but I don't mean shift. And we turn our attention, our energy, our emotion, not just to solutions, but to our own gifts and talents. And we invest more time. We don't protest anymore. We present our own gifts and talent and go through the ups and downs of what it means to express that. The monster called white supremacy will die. Here's an idea. Just think about it. It's not really relative. Well, not relative. That's not the word I'm looking for. I don't want to say it's not possible, but it's not possible. So we'll go with that. Imagine a world where there's no black people, people of color, black people, indigenous people, people of color. What would white people measure themselves against? No, just stay with that human thing, because we can come up with different things. The mind is very powerful, right? What would whiteness, let me say it that way, what would whiteness measure itself against? Nothing. So as long as we give it power, white supremacy gets stronger. I'm not saying ignore it. There are times I've gone to Rev D's class, and Rev D's teaching oneness. And the thing she's saying, I'm like, yes, but my butt ain't that big, but I love to throw it around every now and then. But, and she listened, she said, yes, and. Yes, and. Hey, Monique, you at Margaret's. If she's listening, hey, Margaret. If not, tell her I said, hey. Every thought sends out a vibration. The thought is a translation from your higher self. Sometimes we have a new thought. Sometimes we go, I just had a thought. You had a thought. Where did it come from? Doesn't matter. When we make ourselves available, when we make ourselves open, when we do what we need to do to allow, there's nothing on this planet that cannot be healed. I don't care if the concern is about the earth, politics, money, finances, economy. If we keep buying into the BS that they keep feeding on the news and say, oh, things are going to be tougher the next year for people. Consumers are struggling. I'm like, oh my God, we're going to struggle. First of all, they create a sense of scarcity. So now you've ingested that, you've digested that, and that becomes what is nourishing your body. Be careful what you ingest. Be careful what you digest. Because you might be infected by bullshit. You live in the future. You're living in alignment with the divine. You're living aligned with the divine. You're living truth. You're living truth. Truth, it's ultimately, truth ain't this sort of like, oh, living truth. I mean, come on, truth, it's so much simpler. Truth is spiritual truth. Spirituality is right here. There is a part of you that is spiritual. More of you is spiritual than you're human. So living truth is like, what is the truth about you? And how are you living that truth in your day-to-day relationship? And how are you dealing with your issues and your trauma and your challenges and your successes and your accomplishments? How is that showing up? Can you show up in a space and people go, oh my God? Some people might even deny the fact. They might tell you you're denying reality. You don't live in reality. I don't live in your reality. I heard a family member say something to me one time. I didn't hear it. We were talking. And the family member said, I was talking about raising children and how to talk to them, how to love them. Not necessarily me saying the how, but my perspective. And they said, if I have a child, I'd never let you raise a child. Well, for a minute, I was like, what the? Because all I was saying is children are unique just like we are. And there's some things that they want to explore. We don't always have to keep them sitting still and being quiet. I mean, I was actually shocked by that response. It's like, what? I'm talking about giving children the space to learn to be creative. And that's a problem? Who do you want to be? How do you want to show up? What is causing you to read a book? What is causing you to listen to the show? What did you expect to receive from the show today? You're going to receive it because you came with that intention. Whatever you bring is what you leave with. So if there's an idea of the future, an idea in the future of what you want, need, or desire, claim it now. And claiming it means it's already here. New is happening now. The future is happening now. What do you want to see for your children? What do you want to see for your future? Sometimes it's easy to say, well, I want a better future for my children, for my nieces, for my nephews, for my cousins. Yeah. But what do you want for you? Well, I'm getting old. I'm going to die soon. I don't give a flip. What do you want for your future? I don't really want nothing because, what's the point? It's too late. No, what do you want? Will you be made whole? Live in the future and be the answer. If you got one more day to live, oh my God, you can live that day and say, woo, I got it all wrong. Actually, it can make you depressed. Like, what the you mean I could have done this all this time? And in fact, like people who they tell have 6 months, 3 months to live, and they're going to die. The doctors who don't even know everything about the body, they're still learning and keep changing. 1 minute they tell you use salt, and next minute they say, no, don't use salt. Anyway, I digress. And some people, they get this information, that's what I'm going to call it, that they only have a few months to live, and they go to town and they decide to do the things that they've always wanted to do. They don't give a flip-flop fuck about anything. They just go all out. And then they end up being here 5, 6, 7, 8 years, 10 years longer because they gave life back to themselves. Some people do it and still die. They didn't lose. People say they lost their fight with cancer. You ain't losing nothing. What if somebody dying is the answered prayer? It's hard to take on. How can that be an answered prayer? It can't be an answered prayer because that's not what I want. I'm like, that's not an answered prayer. I want them to stay here. Why do I want someone to stay? Because I want to see them. Because I believe them in the physical body. My father, I want him to be here. I'm telling you, I'm listening. I'm hearing what's coming out my mouth. And I'm like, whoa, even myself, I don't even want to leave right now. But what if leaving right now is the answered prayer? It's what wants to happen. Living in the future means being willing to give up attachments to what you think you know, and asking yourself, what is possible in this reality right now that I didn't even think was possible? Like whatever you're dealing with right now, no matter how great it is, no matter how bad it is, no matter how challenging it is, what if there's something more that's possible? Ooh, Wordcraft by Mace. I like that. No, not Wordcraft. Woodcraft. I think I've gone to your account before. I'm looking at somebody on the Being You podcast account. I think I've been on your account before, but I'm going to check it out when I finish to see what you're up to. Let me see what you're creating in the world. I'm complete. Oh, wait. I almost wrapped the show up at the right time. I'm complete. Later on today, for those of you in America, 7 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have the second session on Zoom of the Manifest Your Dream. I don't know why now I got manifest your dream. But maybe next time I do it, I call it mind your dream. Because when you mind it, you're paying attention to it. You're bringing your higher mind. You say, mind your business, mind your dream. Maybe that's what I'm going to call it next. And we've been going now for what, 7 days, 8 days? Yeah, we started on the 1st. If you're interested today, if you want to sign up today, you can sign up today, but this will be the last time. And that's not like a threat or anything. When I say this will be the last time, I'm just saying that because of what we're doing, we're laying foundations and we're stacking. So there's quite a bit that has happened. But if you feel called to it, like, oh my God, what's that? Manifest your dream. Go to my website, lifecoachade.com, lifecoachade.com. Go to products and services. It's the first one, manifest your dream. Or I think that's simple. I used to think bit.ly/yes to my dream. Yes, the number 2 my dream was simple, but I don't think it is. That's what happens. Rubina? Or is that Ruby? Yeah, anybody got something to say? Because I feel like I am getting ready to release this. I'm sure you had all kind of epiphanies, aha moments, right? And if you need help, support, assistance to translating the aha moment to an embodied way of being, lifecoachade.com, lifecoachade.com. Yes, thank you, Ashley. Quali, you said no more lies or no more lives? Oh, what do you mean no more lives? I don't know what you mean. Explain that. Well, the manifest your dreams, if that's what you're talking about, it's not something I'm doing live. This is something that people are paying for. So it's private. So we meet on Zoom, 7 p.m. Eastern, for an hour and a half. And then the rest of the days, we are on a private group on Facebook. So no, it doesn't go out live because people get to share in a deeper way. It's a group coaching experience. Lifecoachade.com for coaching, spiritual guidance. I am here. And I also invite you to share this conversation, whether it's on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook. Share it. Share it on your page. Share with someone. Share with family members. Share with friends. Share with somebody who you can't stand. Or share with people you can't stand. Like tag so many other people. Do whatever. But, what I know for sure is this is how we allow the vibration, the frequencies to go out in the world. Sometimes we're quicker to share the negative thing. Can you believe this happened? Oh my God, that breaks my heart. But share the things that inspire you. Share the things that make you believe in you. Yes, you may not get as much likes. It doesn't matter, but you're putting it. You're multiplying the consciousness. You're putting it out there. You're tricking the algorithms to pick something like this up. And for those of you who share the show, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. I really do. Oh, well, I do. Yes. I love you too, my dear sister Quali. So I do this, my podcast every week on Tuesday, every week. And then with Ricky. And there were times when I was promoting and sharing, letting people know about Manifest Your Dreams, that I would do more lives. But I would do lives on a regular basis, whatever that means, when I have something that I'm working on, to let people know what it is. It's a space for people to ask questions, so they get a better idea of what I'm offering. I'm in the middle of interviewing a virtual assistant right now. We're actually at a contract stage, but there were some questions in there. I'm like, wait, no, the contract. I had questions like, what? Let's talk more about that. So trustfully, hold the vibration, hold the energy that I will find it perfect. It may be, the person that I'm talking to right now. I feel her vibe. She knows what she's doing. We just need to iron some things out. And it would actually free me up to do more lives. I want to, but right now I'm wearing so many hats. It's just like, oh my God. Anyway, I'm not complaining. My plate is full, and everything on my plate, I ordered it. So I'm not complaining. It's all about being responsible. Let me check the chat room before I leave. Thank you, Monique. It's nice to see you. If you're with Margaret and she's listening, hey, Margaret. Kiana. It sounds like I said your name wrong. I don't know. Did I say your name right? It just sounds weird. Woodcraft by Maze. Thank you for listening. Silent listeners, those of you who are listening, maybe you're watching it live or recorded. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Jackie, thank you. Sending you love. I think I'm complete. Let me see. Yeah, take some time to be silent. Take some time to meditate, to sit in stillness, to have stillness. And your life becomes a future living. You live in the now. That's all it is, from a transcendent place. And whatever you know about God, whatever you know about truth, whatever you know about metaphysics, whatever you know about New Age, whatever you know about life, whatever you know about spirituality, if it's one thing, do it, work it, milk it. I love you. I bless you. I appreciate you. And I thank God for you. It's always good to be here to share with you. And now getting back to do some more work. Actually, I'm going to take a break first before I move to the next thing. Be still, be well, and be you. It's important to be you. It's your saving grace. Peace and blessings.
Be who you are. Let your light shine with so much more.